Jai and David would fight each other tomorrow.
That's such a good fight.
It's such a good fight. And they're both good champions. They're both exactly what you want in a champion. It's such a shame all the keeps good fighters who want to fight each other. Because we opened up the show with good fighters who don't want to fight each other. Now we got good fighters who want to fight each other. These other guys are using all the to not fight people. These guys are being kept from fighting each other. You got two vicious tigers in cages that are being separated by BS.
I mean, hindsight 2020, but Opetaia, I just wish he didn't sign with Zuffa.
Two of boxing's most dangerous champions are ready to collide, yet everyone outside the ring seems determined to find a way to stop the fight from happening.
Against Zuffa, because Zuffa went directly to Michelian to make this fight.
Bro, it's
and
a
that
month
fight's
away.
around the corner.
Month away.
For Michelian, because I've been in these situations with a lot of promoter mucking up things, like right before a fight. It's really hard to focus. Really hard to focus. I have famously fighting my promoter before the Spence fight, and fight week, all the reporters are asking me about my promotional situation, not the fight. It was horrible.
Eddie Hearn believes Jai Opetaia's undisputed ambitions have suffered a major setback. He argues that the ongoing dispute could complicate Opetaia's immediate plans while also creating obstacles that could negatively affect his long-term legacy.
Jai's dream was to become unified and undisputed, and that's been taken away from him. Not by the IBF, that's been taken away from him by signing with Zuffa. And now the Michelanian stuff's really interesting because Don King, who's Michelanian's promoter, has not agreed to that fight. And when you sign a contract without Don King approving it, you got big trouble. It's either going to cost you a load of money or it's just not going to happen.
Max Kellerman, known for cutting through boxing politics and focusing on competitive substance, reduces the entire Benavidez-Opetaia debate to its simplest form. He insists their status should be settled by actually fighting each other, since the winner would remove all doubt over who deserves supremacy.
And also the logic that he's using, well, I'm after legacy stuff. Does he think that some sanctioning body, that a belt confers some special status actually on a fight? Who are the two best cruiserweights in the world? It is obvious to everyone. Jai Opetaia, David Benavidez. So the thing to do is to find out who's better. That's simple.
Backing that same idea from inside the ring, Jai Opetaia, who has spent his career working toward undisputed status while taking on increasingly difficult challenges, insists that a potential showdown with David Benavidez is a fight he genuinely wants. Even with the current path placing multiple elite opponents between him and the Mexican star, Opetaia remains interested in making the matchup happen.
Badu Jack, which is another hard fight. You know, if we win that, then we go down to Ramirez. We win that, and then once we do that, he told me he wants Benavidez to come up to cruiserweight and we fight Benavidez. If that's the course, let's fucking do it. You know what I mean? I'm pumped for that. Respectfully, I'd love to fight Benavidez. He's a great fighter. He's got a great following. You know, he's been in the ring with some great fighters. And then once we tick that box, who knows? Maybe the heavyweight chapter starts then.
By Teofimo Lopez, Porchi former unified lightweight champion who understands the importance of pursuing the biggest challenges, supports the idea of David Benavidez facing Jai Opetaia. He believes the matchup would give Benavidez a major opportunity to establish himself as the leading name in the division and prove his position against one of its most dangerous champions.
Yeah, I think I actually agree with you on this one, Max. I think, honestly, Benavidez should just go after the ring and face Jai Opetaia. I mean, why not? I mean, overall, it should be a better fight. People want to see it already, and you'll be the #1 guy. You know, you will be the champion.
Eddie offers a more cautious outlook, questioning whether the matchup can actually happen as originally planned. He points to the ongoing WBC situation as another potential roadblock that could complicate negotiations or force changes to the fight's intended structure. In his view, even with strong interest surrounding the matchup, the political and organizational hurdles could prove difficult to overcome.
It's either going to cost you a load of money or it's just not going to happen. So I don't know how that's going to play out, but I think it's unlikely for that fight to be for the WBC because obviously Michelian was ordered to fight Benavidez and went the other way. So I'll be honest with you, it's a right mess. But Jai will be getting paid. And, you know, Mick did a great job for Jai, keeping him active in Australia, but keeping him active without really receiving big money because there's just not the money here for those fights. So it's kind of, he's substituted the legacy for the money, which, you know, you got to make money. So, but I think it's a shame because I think Jai is a brilliant fighter, and I know what the belt's meant to him, and I know what unifying the division meant to him and being undisputed. So I'm not sure how that's going to play out.
Speaking from his side of the rivalry, David Benavidez, an unbeaten multi-division contender who has entered the cruiserweight picture, has acknowledged Opetaia as a major target while admitting that the promotional landscape could make their potential showdown much more difficult to arrange.
There's been no discussion, no talks. Like I said, we're taking it one fight at a time. It would have been easier to make that fight happen, but like I said, he's with Zuffa. There's a lot of, it seems like they're at war, you know, the boxing politics, you know, PBC, Golden Boy, Ring Magazine. Or actually, Ring is with Zuffa, actually. So I don't know. We're just we're not to sit back and just see what happens. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Radio Rahim, a veteran boxing journalist known for his ringside coverage, has closely followed the political battles surrounding the cruiserweight titles. He argues that the entire situation has evolved into a political maneuver rather than remaining a straightforward championship process.
I'm looking at a landscape where if we're going to go back to this IBF and Opetaia signing with Zuffa, fighting for the IBF in his mind, then being stripped of it, and whose fault that is, and who deserves blame for him not having an opportunity to pursue his great dream of becoming undisputed. Well, all of these things are political maneuvers. I do agree that I do believe that Opetaia is and should be the IBF champion. He didn't lose that belt in the ring. He was stripped of that belt due to politics on both sides of that political equation. Everybody's being too cute by half.
Rahim takes the argument further, suggesting that Zuffa's entry has disrupted the traditional power structure that has shaped boxing for decades. He believes the sanctioning bodies are now facing a new level of pressure, with their influence being challenged by a major promotional force capable of reshaping how fighters, titles, and major matchups are handled.
Everybody's trying to have 1 foot in and 1 foot out. When Zuffa comes into the game and flatly states a declaration of war on the sanctioning bodies, and then expects the sanctioning bodies to play ball, well, that's a tall order to ask. The sanctioning bodies get defensive. They've got issues that we are all aware of, that we talked about long before Zuffa came onto the scene. And they're vulnerable to criticism.
Shifting the conversation away from politics and toward the business side, Shady McCoy reframes the debate around marketability, arguing that Opetaia remains largely unknown outside hardcore boxing circles. In his view, that lack of mainstream recognition could play a major role in determining how financially attractive the matchup becomes as Artur Beterbiev weighs his next move.
But if you ask the business you're talking about, business-wise, like you ask, everybody don't know who Ja is. We know because we in the boxing world, but everybody don't know who that. Everybody know who he with Tyson today. He's with Floyd tomorrow. He's a big draw.
Jose Benavidez Sr. reinforces the financial concern by questioning whether the reported guarantees are realistic when compared with a fighter's actual ability to generate revenue. From his perspective, popularity alone cannot justify massive payouts, and ticket sales, pay-per-view interest, and overall market demand don't support them. He warns that unrealistic financial expectations could complicate negotiations and ultimately make major fights even harder to finalize.
Do you really think that they gave him that money? Is he worth that money? Do you think so? I mean, pay-per-views and this and that, I would, in my mind, I would never give him that money, in my opinion, because that's a guaranteed loss. Who's he gonna fight? You ask an American guy who he is, they don't know. Only the boxing people know who he is. I know who he is,
Not willing to give Opetaia anything without proof, Sean Ziddle takes an even more skeptical position, arguing that Opetaia's reputation alone doesn't make him the undisputed king of cruiserweight. He believes the Australian must defeat the other leading champions before earning that distinction. In Ziddle's view, rankings and public perception only carry weight until the biggest fights are settled inside the ring.
In order for there to really be a true champion of cruiserweight, they have to fight each other. Maris Briedis, in the aftermath of Alexander Usyk moving up, was the #1 guy because he gave the undisputed champion his toughest fight at cruiserweight. Did Briedis? Briedis was getting well into his 30s by the time he fought Opetaia. Briedis won a WBO belt. It got stripped or vacated. Then he won the IBF belt. He never held 2 belts at the same time, let alone 3, let alone all 4. So in my mind, Opetaia I think his lineal status is debatable.
Moving past the politics and into the technical side of the matchup, Bruce Carrington has studied how elite opponents attempt to keep David Benavidez at range before his relentless pressure eventually takes over. Using a potential Bible matchup as a reference point, he points to previous fights as evidence that Benavidez becomes increasingly dangerous once his opponents begin to slow down physically.
Am I crazy?
No, not at all. I mean, I feel like, you know, when I think about fights like Benavidez Morrell, Benavidez Plant, when they were boxing, it was hard for Benavidez to get to them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah. But once they started to slow down and their body was kind of beat down, then he was able to get what he wanted. But yeah, so I think about it like that, man. I really do think about it.
Zurdo Ramirez offers a contrasting assessment, questioning whether Jay Opetaia has done enough against elite-level opposition to truly claim the top spot at cruiserweight. Ramirez believes Opetaia still needs a defining victory over a proven contender to silence the doubts surrounding his resume. That makes a potential showdown with David Benavidez an especially important opportunity for Opetaia to validate his status and prove he belongs among division's elite.
And I mean, he's been doing well in his whole career. He's been fighting long time in this division, but I think he needs to be fighting with different guys, better guys.
Zurdo builds on that assessment by highlighting David Benavidez's relentless pressure and high punch volume as the biggest challenge in the matchup. He points to David's ability to constantly move forward while unleashing combinations, forcing opponents to defend without giving them much time to reset. If Jay Opetaia cannot stay composed and effectively manage that sustained attack, Zurdo believes the constant pressure could eventually overwhelm the Australian.
Well, because Opetaia, he moved, he takes some chance, and David Benavidez, he's pushing, he's going forward all the time. He never gets tired, and I mean, he has a lot of combination, a lot of volume of punching.
Jai Opetaia pushes back against the idea that Benavidez's size would automatically give him an advantage. He argues that physical dimensions only matter so much once the action starts because the fighter who controls the pace and dictates the exchanges ultimately holds the edge. For Opetaia, the key would be proving who can impose their style, rather than simply comparing height, weight, or reach.
Like he looks like to the other guys?
Bro, he doesn't look small. But honestly, I don't think there's deep into it. Just fucking put us in the ring and who's better. You know, what the fuck's this, all this and that, bro.
Durrell, drawing from his experience at the highest level, identifies David Benavidez's footwork as an overlooked weakness that could create problems against a technically disciplined opponent. He suggests that David can sometimes struggle to reset his position cleanly, leaving openings for a fighter who understands angles and movement. Against someone like Jai Opetaia, that flaw could become especially important if the Australian can consistently make Benavidez chase and attack from awkward positions.
He is full of energy, man, but he's technically flawed. David has no feet whatsoever. Period, point blank, man. And don't need him at this point. And once he gets in there with someone who's willing to use their feet, then he's going to see where he needs to capitalize with his feet. So, man, I refuse to pick. This is one of them ones I want to be right with, because if I had to pick, and I feel like I want to tell you, but I'm not going to do it. Because all it takes is the right fight from either fighter, right? But David has a disadvantage. His feet, period, point blank. You know, Jai can go for 12 rounds that way. He just got to do it the right way.
Andre expands on that assessment by emphasizing that Opetaia's best path would depend on controlling the distance and preventing Benavidez from establishing his relentless pressure. He believes the jab will be crucial for disrupting David's rhythm and keeping him from getting comfortable on the inside. If Opetaia allows himself to be drawn into prolonged exchanges, Andre warns that Benavidez's physicality and non-stop attack could quickly shift the momentum in his favor.
With that jab, keep that jab in his face, making it hard for him to see the shots coming after. And if you can keep that distance and cause him to have to take chances to land those shots, then David is going to have the problem. So Jai has the feet. He has the ability. He put the right game plan together, he's going to beat David. If he doesn't put the right game plan together, David's going to beat him.
Jose Benavidez Sr. takes a much more confident stance, refusing to view Jai Opetaia's cruiserweight status as a major obstacle for David Benavidez. He believes David's physical strength, experience, and relentless pressure would allow him to neutralize Opetaia's advantages. From his perspective, the matchup would ultimately favor Benavidez because he possesses the tools to impose his style and gradually break down the Australian champion.
They stripped him. What I know, they stripped him. You know, so I mean, Zuffa doesn't get along with nobody, so I don't even know how we can. He's a good fighter. Don't get me wrong. David will fuck him up right now. You know, he doesn't have the experience. He gets hurt every fucking. You know, if people want to see that fight, let's make it happen. But it's so difficult. He made a mistake by along with everybody. So, you know, we can also fight for those titles or whatever. At the end of the day, they're titles, right? I mean, I don't know. The most important titles, I mean, for me, WBC, WBO, WBA, and the IBF, you know. But Zuffa, I mean, to me, it's just a trophy right now, you know?
Coach Bredman offers a balanced assessment, acknowledging that David Benavidez has the versatility and technical ability to succeed across multiple weight classes. However, he warns that Jai Opetaia presents a unique challenge because of his natural size, speed, and explosive power. In his view, David has the tools to win, but underestimating the Australian could quickly turn the matchup into a dangerous and unpredictable test.
I'm not as sure if he beat Opetaia because he's such a big guy and he's explosive, but I'm more comfortable picking David to beat him. The one guy that I think will give David some real trouble is Usyk at heavyweight. I don't know if he could beat Usyk, but the rest of the guys, I think he can beat him.
Bredman reinforces the warning by highlighting Jai Opetaia's explosive athleticism and fight-ending power. He believes David Benavidez cannot afford to overlook the Australian speed because Opetaia can turn even the smallest opening into a dangerous exchange in an instant. That combination makes him a serious threat, even if Benavidez enters the matchup as the bigger and more physically imposing fighter.
You gotta have some kind of like masterful timing or jab or something to offset that. He's just too slow. Opetaia not slow like that. He's twitchy, he's fast, and he's explosive. And David gonna have to be careful. That boy will hit you with a left hand, he can knock you out. And he's a southpaw, so he'll have some built-in advantages. He's just it's not a skill thing. He's a different level athlete than what El Zurdo is. And he's young, and he's mean, and he's gonna be fighting hard. I think David might know a little bit too much for him. I think he might be a little bit too skillful for him and be a little bit too slick, but his raw athleticism and punching power is something David gonna have to beat.
Closing out the debate, Bernie the Boxer argues that David Benavidez has already done enough to establish himself at the highest level and should now be pursuing bigger and more meaningful challenges. However, he still views Jai Opetaia as one of the few opponents capable of providing a truly significant test. In Bernie's view, Opetaia stands out because of his dominance at cruiserweight, where his size, strength, and championship experience could create a difficult matchup for Benavidez.
To try to get you out of there every round?
Well, first of all, I think Sean Zattel is like one of the bright minds in boxing, and he's a real guy in the sports media. I really like him. I don't, listen, my favorite fighters are Sugar Ray Robinson, Sugar Ray Leonard, those kind of fighters, boxer punchers who go for the knockout, right?
Two champions, two elite resumes, and a matchup that the entire boxing world agrees should happen. Yet politics, promoters, and sanctioning bodies continue finding new ways to delay it. Whether it's the WBC, the money, or simple stubbornness standing in the way, one thing is becoming increasingly clear: boxing fans aren't the ones keeping Benavidez and Opetaia apart.